this book. I love it. The Deal by L. Kennedy. And now this author actually is kind of controversial. She has wrote Paper Princess picture, and then wrote this other book, and I forgot the name of the book. It's a new release, and someone said, oh, we do not like she loved The Deal, but she was like, the Paper Princess and the new release were like, what the heck is this? This feels inappropriate. And I would say this book, it has some male misogyny, like bad male misogyny in this book. And I feel like it gets, like, in the beginning, he's kind of full of himself, like, I'm this tough guy and get any girl I want. It's a sport hockey romance. It's 18 and older, for sure. But it's like in the beginning, he's very cocky, very male misogyny. But it's like throughout the book, he gets better, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, he's so like full of himself. I go, honestly, he really wasn't. I think maybe in the first 100 pages he kind of was, but after that he wasn't horrible. I think if you want to think of a guy character, think of I think it's Noah Flynn from The Kissing Booth, but dial it down because he still kind of is full of himself even towards the end in the second one. So I would say, and it's about a girl named Hannah. She is excellent in college, and then actually has a crush on this guy. And so basically they take this exam, and everyone like fails it. It's like weird class, like geometry, economics, something like that. It's like really weird, never heard of. Maybe I'll tell my bad. I'm trying to find it. Probably will not tell me. No, it's just a really weird class, and only her and maybe one other kid like passed it because it was so difficult. And so Garrett, wanted to be being a really good hockey player, and when you go professional one day, it's like, I need someone to help me get my GPA up. And it was kind of in it, like the teacher knew this was gonna be hard, and the teacher set up like retakes. So Garrett's like, I need a tutor, and finds out Hannah is really, really, really smart. So he's like, oh, let me get my cool guy act on, let me just get her to do it. And she doesn't fall for it, which every other girl would. And so he kind of just was like, can you help me, can you help me, can you help me, can you help me, all the time. And she finally does. And it's cute. I think by then, he's a better guy. That's why I would maybe rate this 4.5 stars, just because like it's kind of misogyny, full of himself. Not my favorite thing to read about, but he does get better. So I rate this more like a 17 or plus book. And the covers, I don't know why they do this book. They have a human cover, and it's kind of like everyone's know what's going to read about. Why do they do that? But The Deal, ladies and gentlemen. And then I read, not those books, those are recent books. I think I read One of Us Is Next by Karen McManus, and this is the sequel to One of Us Is Lying. Did I cat by through that? Oh my gosh. I also annotated and added tabs later on, and I just looked, and one of my tabs my cat chewed on. But this one's the sequel, so basically everyone in the first book has graduated, and this is about younger brothers or sisters or neighbors or close friends of the people. And instead of gossip, it's like truth or dare gone like dangerous, like illegal. So basically the thing is, I probably would have liked this book more if I connected to these characters, but I did not feel connected except for one character, and that was the what is her name? Browning's sister. Literally only person I connected to in this book. But the ending, I would say, is so good. Like, it actually got me. Like, I've guessed endings before, but this one was surprising. And I heard there's a third one coming out, so I'm excited to read that, but I just did not connect with these characters. But yeah, so basically, like I said, but yeah, there was just parts where I just did not like it. So this is what I would say 3 or 3.5 stars. It was still good, still liked it, just did not connect with the characters. So that is One of Us is Next. And then I think I read You. Oh no, I got them backwards. I think I read All Your Perfects by Colin Hoover, then One of Us is Next. So One of Us is Next. So All Your Perfects by Colin Hoover. People say this book is my favorite book. I love it. 5 stars. OMG, so good. I rated it 3 stars. And you're like, why'd you rate 3 stars? It's so good. I think as a person who has not gone through trigger warning of what's in this book, I'm not gonna say it. There's a trigger warning. It says in the back. Yeah, it doesn't say. I just did not connect with them. I liked it's like then and now, and I loved them then. They were so good then. But when it transferred to now, I was like, oh my gosh. There's a lot of miscommunication. I think it was just a me thing of, it was more of a thing where the main character, WMC, woman main character, was going through something, and I did not understand it. And it might have been better if I was maybe older or something. But it was still good. I loved the male main character. He was awesome. But it's about Quinn and Graham. Quinn and Graham. Quinn and Graham, turns out both of their partners are cheating on them. You don't. It's basically just know that they're cheating on them. And decided to go on a first date. And from then on, they've fallen in love, gotten married. And then something happens on which I cannot say, which is a spoiler. And they just need to work out through their marriage. And then there's this inevitable box. And when I found out what was in the box, actually, that made it a 3 star. I actually was like, it was just awesome. It was 3 stars. I loved it. That's what saved it from being like a 2.5, 2-star book, was the ending. And I would just say this is more of a 16+ book. Nothing really inappropriate happens, doesn't describe anything. I would not be able to read just like that. But it was just, I feel like, kind of felt repetitive with just not talking. I'm like, he is your husband. You need to talk to him. Now, maybe you don't talk to him once or twice. That's okay. That's someone texting me. But if it's like, oh, you're just purposely not texting him, or not texting him. Literally, someone texts me while I'm doing this. If you are not talking to him because you feel guilty, or you just don't want to talk about it, or you fall in love, that's when you need to talk to them. That's why I'm probably not the person who was good for this book, because I am just a person, like, if you have an issue, talk to me about it in a proper, nice way. And if it's something like I did, or that hurt, you know what I mean? But nothing stupid like, oh, you did this, or if it's like, oh, you like purposely made fun of me, oh, I'll stop. Like, if it's too far, it's too far. But oh, you chew with your mouth open, I'll stop. But it should not be, you know. So this was good. I would say 16+. So the stack is getting tall. Okay. And then after that, I think I just kind of got in a reading slump, because that book wasn't like a good book to end off the month with. Oh, no. I'm forgetting a book. I am forgetting a book. Never mind. I'm about to forget a book. Then, before I think all of this, I think after Shatter Me, I read this. We went out of town. Huh? Okay, that was kind of creepy. I read Good Girl, Bad Blood by Good Girl, Bad Blood by Holly Jackson. It is a sequel to A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and I'm gonna just read the back. Pip is not a detective anymore. With the help of Ravi Singh, she's released a true crime podcast about the murder case they solved together last year. Though the podcast went viral, Pip insists that her sleuthing days are behind her. But when someone she knows goes missing and the police won't do anything, Pip has no choice but to investigate. After all, Jamie Reynolds disappeared on the very same night the town hosted a memorial for the 6th year anniversary of the deaths of Andy Bell and Sal Singh. It has to be more than a coincidence. That's freaking me out, dude. Pip follows a trail of clues, uncovering more of her town's dark secrets along the way. And this time, everyone is listening. Will she find Jamie before it's too late? And I would say, this book, I do think about this is like a 5-star book. Read the sequel. Oh my gosh, I don't hear many people talking about the sequel, but this twist, there's no twist above it. No one will ever top this twist. And I love this author. And like I just said, it's about them. And it kind of got a little boring. It was just, we didn't see Ravi a whole bunch in the first 120 pages, but after that, it went like, boom. And I just remember I read it maybe 3 days. I would give this to someone who is 13 and older, maybe 14 and older. Just, again, cursing and stuff like that. If you're just not into that. But, yeah, I love this book so much. Go read this series, please. I need to read the last one. So, go read this. And then I got kind of, I felt like not like a failure. I felt like, oh, no proper reader. This didn't happen to people. Back out, it does happen to actually a lot of people. And so basically, in October, I was on and off with It's Not Summer Without You by Jenny Han, the sequel. Because I did a big, I went for my 16th birthday. I went like 10 to 15 books for my birthday. And I read this on and off. And this one's about, it's like the sequel. Basically, this happens, and she kind of has a little like secret relationship with Conrad in the winter. I'm gonna read this to you. Belly's life is about to change. Since her brief relationship with Conrad fizzled out in the past winter, she'll be staying home for the first time. Her best friend Taylor has lots of plans for them: boat parties and tanning by the pool and new boys to obsess over. But when Jeremiah calls her and says that Conrad has disappeared, all roads seem to lead back to the beach house. Will Belly spend another summer chasing after Conrad, or will she finally be able to let him go? And I think this is good. Like, this is a good 3-star. It's not like the first one, but it's still good. Whoa, it's still good. I finished it officially in October, but it was just not a good book to get you out of a reading slump. Again, I would give this to someone who's 13 and older. If pushing it, if it's 10 and older, but mainly 13 and older, just with like heavy topics, and it was good. Like, it's hot in my room to reread it. So that is It's Not Summer Without You, and I love the cover. Love this color. My big baby cat is in here. Hi, War. I'm trying my best not to show my feet. Stand there because you're gonna. And so in October, I read that, but in November, I was like a speed girl. Hello? I know the books I've been up to in November. Like 4 books. I thought I read 3, but I read 4. And so after I read that, I read, he got some shots that he was not happy. He had some shots on how to get some jail. But then I read The Mistake by Elle Kennedy, which is the 2nd book in the Off-Campus series. It is about, so in this series, every book is about a different person. You can read them out of order, but I think it's very much, if you can read as standalones, you can read in order. I like this one a lot. It's about Grace and Logan, and Grace is a freshman, and Logan's a senior, and Grace is looking for a relationship. She's never really had like a serious relationship and Logan just kind of is like, he doesn't really want a girlfriend, but he's not opposed to the idea of getting a girlfriend. Supposed to get together, then out of nowhere, she's like, you don't want to be in a relationship with me, you're in love with your best friend's girlfriend, and he is like, oh my gosh. And so nothing happens, and then she goes to Italy for the summer with where her parents Grace's parents are divorced. So she goes to like France or Italy with her mom, and basically just says that, hi babes. He really is lovey, but I'm filming. Go into the back. I can't scratch your neck, babe. I could if I would. But she goes to LA, and then she comes back, and he's like, oh my gosh, like he's like, I'm ready to make you mine. I'm ready to be you for you to be my girl. La 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 la. So that's this one. I would rate this 4.5. This was so good, but I just I'm not like constantly thinking about it. You know what I mean? So I loved it though. I would totally reread this though. Okay, what's my awesome? But yeah, that's about them. That's like I said, you can read this as a standalone or read them in order, which I totally recommend. Read them in order. Love this one. My cousin actually owns this and she loved it too. It is a little bit slow. This is again like 17 older, 18 or older book. Going into it, 4.5 star. I mentioned that. So that was The Mistake by L. Kennedy. And then I read the sequel to the selection, The Elite by Kiera Cass. And this is now we started with 15, now it's to 6, and this is The Elite, the competition to win so America is still struggling to decide where, like, she's trying to love Maxon, but or she's love Aspen, I can't say what. So basically, I can't really say much. It doesn't tell you much on the back, which is a good thing, but I'm about to say, I almost slipped a few things, which would have been major spoilers, but this is a lot darker. Like, a lot darker than the first one. And I was like, okay. And I've rated this like 3.5 stars. It was so dark. And it was like, oh, it does not feel like a YA book. And maybe it's because it's not one of my first times reading YA dystopian, but I still loved it. Like, I still liked it, enjoyed it. This would be more of a 14+ book, but if you just, like, I recommend the first one and the second one. And yeah, maybe I'll look at anything else. It is getting so, it's up to here. It's just crazy. And then I read A Little Old Parody by Colleen Hoover, which I would say, low-key, I don't love Colleen Hoover. I don't hate Colleen Hoover. I just decent. I'll pick up a book by her, but I'm not like, I need to read Colleen Hoover right now, every day. Not to what I just choose what to do. But this one's about a woman named Lowen. Her mom recently passed away, and this other woman, Verity. And Lowen writes a book, but she's not very successful. She's borderline getting evicted. Doesn't make much money. But this woman named Verity got in a car crash and she's like bedridden, cannot move, and so but she wrote like a amazing thriller book. And so basically they're like, oh, okay. The husband of Verity is like, I want you to finish the series. He personally picked her up, which is kind of weird. And so basically she decides to, but she has to live in the house with them, and she starts kind of falling in love with the husband. And she found this thing of Verity's that is giving her the creepiest vibe, and she's like, it is just crazy. The ending though, oh my gosh, is crazy. I would definitely say this is like an 18 or older book, and it's had just inappropriate, like, gory scenes and stuff, and just 18 and older, and pushing it if it's 17, but even then, I would definitely be 18 older reading this. But that is Verity by Miss Colleen Hoover. Really good. 4.5 stars, not 5. 4.5. Recommend if you are 18 and older. It's about to fall, but it's getting really tall. And then I read, after that, December, I was on and off with the book. I don't even remember what the book was. But January hit and I read I started another book. I think I started It Starts With Us, and I felt so boring. I took a break. I plan on picking it up maybe later this year, but I was just very bored with it. So I read in the beginning of the month Archetype by Sarah J. Maas. I have started Core Mist and Fury. I'm taking my time with that book. I kind of felt very intimidated, but I recently read Things We Never Got Over, and that was a 500-page book, and that gives me the motivation to finish it, which I only have 300 pages. I'm over 50%. So I'm gonna probably finish that after I finish the book I'm currently reading, after I go to the beach and camp. So stay tuned for that, because I will definitely be doing just talking about that book in the review. But this is about Feyre. Feyre, she lost her mom. She's mainly the girl who does it. Her dad, kind of crappy. Can't really explain why. But she takes care of her family. She has a younger and older sister. And she kills this like beastly large, but she kills this like ginormous wolf thing. And she's like, oh, okay, no big deal. They have enough fur. It will last them a while. And then I know where this other huge wolf's like, you killed someone of the Fae. Now Fae, you have to, Feyre and her family in that side of the court of the place are human. And then they have a wall, and that side is fairies, Fae, and they're like Tinkerbell, but like mean and deadly, what they've been told. And so basically, he's like, you have killed him. You will either come live with me, or I will have to kill you. And she's like, oh, I don't know what to do, because she takes care of her family. Literally, she hunts, provides them food, provides them warmth, takes care of them, works a job. Like, I'm not kidding. She's like 17 or 19. And she's doing all this and acting like a grown adult while her in. He's like, okay, I'll take care of your family, but you have to live with me. And when to get back, it turned out he shapeshifts. It's a fairy. I have to read this part because I'm not really not explaining. But something is not right in the fairy lands. An ancient wicked shadow is growing, and Feyre must find a way to stop it, or doom Tamlin and its world forever. So I would say 16, 17 or older, because it's not like inappropriate, but there's kind of like maybe a scene where it's like angsty, but like it's inappropriate. It's not appropriate for someone who's 13. And this 4 stars. Solid 4 stars, because like, and so I started it back in November. I was like, I'm intimidated, my first like official fantasy book, and I was like, oh, okay, I got to page like 50. I was like, okay, I'm gonna read Verity, and I finished Verity, and my dad's like, he bought me the box set, and he's like, you need to read this book series. And actually his hairdresser read the entire series, and she's like, oh, it's so good. And I read it, I'm like, oh my gosh, it is good. So basically what I have on it, I'm gonna finish Akimoff, Accord Mist and Fury soon. I think I'm gonna maybe wait till August to start Echo War, because that one's like 700 pages. And so yeah, that's my update. So that is A Court of Thorns and Roses. It's getting really tall now. It's gonna fall, I know it is. And then I read the final and the 3rd book in January, We'll Always Have Summer by Jenny Han. And I tell you, I loved the first one. I loved the second. I hate this one. I do not like this one. And they're in college. She's a freshman in college. She's 19 now. And Sylvia, and she's like, Susan's a second mother to her. She's loved Conrad her whole life. And Jeremiah was her first boyfriend. And out of nowhere, he proposes to her. And they're 19 at freshman in college. And Belly's mom's like, no. Her dad's like, no. And they're like, you're too young, because her parents got married young, and they were like, no, we married young, it wasn't worth it. And her mom's like, if you marry this man, I'm not gonna follow through with it. I don't want you marrying him this young. And I was like, dang. But it felt so repetitive with the same banter. Oh my gosh, I just don't like it. Give like 2 stars on Goodreads. And mind you, I love Jenny Han. I love the first one. I love the second one. What happened in this one? I love you, Jenny Han. I feel like I have to vouch for that. I don't like this one for some weird reason. And a lot of people say that. I just think it felt kind of rushed, and just felt like, oh, she needed the 3rd one. But I would give this, like, if you're gonna read it, be 13 or older and read it. Again, like, yeah, 2 stars. Did not enjoy it. And then February I did not go into reading slump. It's falling. It fell. Oh gosh, it was so tall too. February, what did I read in February? I read the Inheritance Games, and it took me a whole month to read now. Mind you, it wasn't like I wasn't interested in this book. This book was super good and good for reading some. I was just picking up at random times, and it's about this girl named Avery Grams, and Avery is just living her life. She lives with her sister, and it's like half-sister relationship, but it's like they don't have her mom. Her mom was like not like secretive, but they play games like, oh, I have a secret, and she hates her boyfriend. But they don't live like they're rich. They actually don't have much money. And nowhere, just getting called to the office. Oh, and Avery's very, very smart. But one day she's getting called to the office. She's like, what is going on? And this, a very known man, Tobias Hawthorne, his grandson, I think it's Grayson or Grayson's like, oh, my grandpa left you in his will for some reason. Oh, you need to come to my house. And they're like, why did they put this random girl in his will and give her way more money than everyone else? And so basically, she's like, I don't know. And so they're uncovering it. And it's like this twist. It got me. And I was interested in it. I liked it. It was just, I didn't constantly want to sit here and be like, oh, ooh, yeah, And I like the last few pages I did, I would say 10 and older. This was so good. And I would recommend this to someone who wants to get out into reading short chapters, very interesting, mystery. And the whole series is out. So if you wanted a good series to jump into, The Heritage Games, I totally recommend. Let's read Build Articles. I read that. And then I read one of the most popular books, I think, on the internet. And it was Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. And this book, I would say right now, this author is known for like personifying, like, it feels like she personifies Marilyn Monroe in this book, but it's like, oh, Evelyn Hugo. So basically, you're going through the life of Evelyn Hugo right now, in real time. In this book, she's 80 years old, and she asks this editor club, be like, hey, I want this specific person and this person only to come and interview me. And you just go through her life. And I annotated it because I knew it was a book I wanted to annotate. It took me longer, yes, but I still enjoyed it. And I remember I like took a break when I had like 40 pages left. I was like, I'm gonna take a break, because I did not want to deal with that heartbreak of the ending. Like, I was just like, not ready. Nope, not gonna do it. And so basically that happened. And so I would recommend this 16 and older. It doesn't explain too. It has, like, talks about trigger warning, I might say. Not trigger warning, but it was just, it's not meant for a younger audience, but it's still a good book. Like, I would give this 4.5 stars. Super good book. So then we get into what now is my like binge read. Then I tried starting to film or make a YouTube channel back in March, and then I read in March. Oh, I was in a reading slump. Like, I did not want to read at all. It felt, I did not like it. And in that month I read, is that right? 4 books, not including Evelyn Hugo. I read Leigh Bardugo's Miss Shadow and Bone. This book, I tell you, I think about these characters. It's a 5-star fantasy read. I know it's like, everyone's like, oh, I don't like this book. I liked it. And I would say do read fantasy before you read this book, my personal opinion, because the world building was so confusing. But it's about Elena Sarkov. Her and her best friend Mel are orphaned, and they work in the military. She's a map maker. He moves stuff. He helps like with more lifting things. And they have Grisha, which Grisha are like fairies. They have like powers, and then they're humans. And they have this thing called the Shadowfold. And the Shadowfold is, you have to go through, it has these dangerous like bat monsters called Volcra, and the only way to get rid of it was with the sun summoner, because it's dark, and if the light gets in it, they freak out. They don't like the light. And so something happens on their trip, and they start getting unshackled by the Volcra, and something happens, and Elena finds out she has powers. And she's like, okay. So then turns out she is a Grisha, and she needs to go to the Grisha school basically. And I just would say, oh my gosh, this book got me out of a reading slump. Like, amazing. Mwah. Love this book. 5 stars. I would say 13 and older. 13 and older is a good book. Big font. Chapters are long. One bad thing about it, but they 5 stars. I don't know what much to say. It's amazing. I loved it. Shadow and Bone. Dude, it's like you need like a few more books, but I don't know if I'll make it. Then I read, yes, another Colleen Hoover, maybe someday. And I actually like this one a lot for some reason. It's about 22-year-old Sydney. She has a boyfriend and a best friend. She lives with the best friend in this apartment. Turns out her boyfriend and her best friend have been in a relationship. Sophie? Hey! I've been in a relationship behind her back, and every night at like 7 p.m. she goes out and she hears this guy named Ridge playing the guitar. Now, mind you, it sounds like she's falling in love with Ridge when he play, but she loves the way he plays the guitar, the way he like, it's the way people play music that you love. And basically she finds out, punched best friend in the face, and she's like, I need to get out of here, I cannot be in this place. And she didn't have a home, so Ridge was like, come live with me. And she's like, okay, sure. And so basically that happens, and I can see why people don't like it, but I liked this book a lot. And so I would say 14 and older, maybe 15 and older, just with like certain topics in this, but it's I don't know, I like this. I don't know why I like this so much, I just did. So like this maybe someday. Well, actually my friend let me borrow her copy, and actually I loved it so much I was like, I need to buy the rest of the series. So this maybe someday. It's gonna fog, I swear. And then I read Shadow and Bone. Is it Shadow and Bone? Shadow and Bone and Maybe Someday are part of a video I tried making back in March, but then I ended up saying like, nope, I'm just not gonna do it. Well, I had a hard time finding the video and it wouldn't let me edit it. And then I read 14 Ways to Die by Vincent Ralph, and this is his debut book, and it's about a girl named Jess. Her mom was murdered by the Magpie Man, and she was the first of many people to be his victim. And so this opportunity comes up to have like an online TV show of her being like, hey guys, what's up? Like basically these tragic kids with tragic stories come on and are like telling their life story. And for a month, so let's say this kid has Monday, she has Monday, this kid 2 has Wednesday, kid 3 has Thursday. For a month they'll all go, but whoever has the most views and likes and stuff like that, they get the show permanently for 3 months. And so basically she purposes like the Magpie Man, I'm gonna find you, you're gonna go to jail, you don't get to kill and hurt anyone else, blah blah blah. And she starts sending sending warnings and just kind of creepy warnings to her. And so it felt very repetitive. She talked about her mom, like, I'm a avenge my mom, and it kind of got boring. It was a lot of cousin in it for some reason, but the twist was so good. It reminded me a lot of One of Us is Lying, and Good Girl's Guide to Murder. So I would say 14 and older, murder mystery. I'd rate this 3.8 stars. I'm being very picky with that. Jeez. But yeah, if you want a good like murder mystery, I read there is very short chapters, like not even 2 pages chapters. Like it's a good book. Dude, it is so tall. And then upcoming last month I've read 3 books, which I think one of them counts 2 books. So, but I started this book I think back in April, and I kind of took a break from it because I was just like, I'm not in the mood for fantasy. I wanted like something else, and also I had a lot of schoolwork. But I picked it up back in. This is a sequel to Shatter Me. So Julia has officially escaped from the Embrace establishment, and now she's free, and their plan to use her as a weapon is, this might be spoilers, so I might put spoiler warning, I don't know. And Faye loves Adam, but Juliet will never be free from her lethal touch, or from Warner, who wants Juliet more than ever than she ever thought possible. Haunted by her past and terrified of her future, Juliet knows that she will make some life-changing choices that may be involved choosing between her heart and Adam's life. So you just kind of go through that. It was kind of boring the first 100 pages, but the last 150 pages, it was action. And everyone's like, the first one is a little slow. The second one, the last 100 pages are good. The third one, everyone's like, is action packed. It is so good. So I'm excited for that one. And there's a little novella. You have to reach out to me. And then a novella, half a novella, probably, and the other half of the novella. In which I would say this book, 13, 14-year-older, I'd rate it 4 stars. 4 stars. So that is Enough Me by Tara Moffi. Careful, because it's gonna fall if I'm not careful. Okay, and then I read The One and Only Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. And this book is about a woman who randomly, or what we think is randomly, shoots her husband. Yeah, I just started kicking it. Randomly shoots her husband 5 times with the head and just like willingly stops talking. And she's like, and she's like, what the heck? Everyone's like, what the heck? Press start talking to her. But then this new psychotherapist comes in and is like, I'm gonna make her talk. And basically this was crazy. I would say 18 and older to read this, or no, 16 and older. There are some parts in it kind of just like talking about marijuana and drugs and stuff. And then the ending, oh my gosh, the ending, the twist. I thought I had it. I thought, dang, I have it. No, I was so wrong. I would say 18 and older. I rate this 4.5 just because there's certain parts of it I was like kind of felt uncomfortable reading. But I read like 5 days. I zoomed with this book, and the font's so small. It was super good. So that was The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. And the final book, the book I recently just finished. I love this book so much. It's Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. It is 500 pages, and when I tell you, I zoomed. I read it in a week, and now gives me more courage to read Asimov. It's about a woman named Naomi. She's a runaway bride, and she finds her put in this place called Knockamout, and then Knox finds her and is like, okay. And she turns out her sister, she has a twin, and her twin sister stole her money, stole her car, stole all her stuff. She doesn't have a phone because she doesn't have a phone, and she can't contact anyone because she thought she was getting married, and she didn't want to marry the guy. And so Knox is like, oh, you have a niece, like, and it's Grumpy Sunshine. You have a niece. You need to go see her. You need to go see her. Like, just going through that, the daughter, the niece, and then the male main character was amazing. The dynamics were good. I loved everyone in this book. I'm so sad this book ended. I'm so sad. But 5 stars. I do not see anything wrong with this book. This is the top 3 book of all time. I didn't see anything wrong with this book, but I don't understand. I really don't understand why people don't like it, but people don't like books for certain reasons, and that's their reasons. But 18 and older, that's my rating for it. You have to be, I would say, by good old 500-page book I read in a week. And so those are the 35 books I have read and owned. I own more books, and hopefully I get through them. And my current read actually right now is Today, Tonight, Tomorrow by Rachel Lynn Solomon, and I'm on page 100. And I started yesterday, so in my opinion, that's pretty awesome. So I'm going to read more tonight, and I will update you next month or next time. So the book's stacked right here. You can barely not see it. I'll show you soon. And I'll do my official half-year book tag maybe in July, so I get more book over and adding more books, because I basically explained most of the books I've read this year. But I think with that one, I might give my non-spoiler review and then do a spoiler review video. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a good day.